Video games are embraced for their escapism, but sometimes players want some realism thrown in. They want to simulate the trials and tribulations that could result from realistic injuries without actually receiving any, which is totally understandable. Fortunately, there are several titles out there which can accurately model injuries, if not showcase them in neat, cosmetic ways. Let's take a look at 15 such titles here. Prey. While they can be turned off, traumas add much more to the experience in Arcane Studios' Prey. Concussions can cause blurry vision and reduce PSI capacity. Fear reduces firearm accuracy and impacts your vision. All of these require treatment with different items, or from visiting a medical operator and reinforcing the importance of, say, thermal shielding to prevent third-degree burns, or fear shielding to reduce the duration of, well, fear. Dwarf Fortress. Bay 12 Games' Dwarf Fortress is a game that simulates everything about your dwarf residence to the most minute detail. Naturally, that includes injuries which can be received during fights or from the environment and affect their heart, lungs, teeth, etc. The injury effects are also realistic. A damaged brain leads to death, while damaging guts leads to nausea and other unpleasant sights. Severed limbs can also lead to blood loss and death if not treated immediately. Each status, from partially damaged to broken, also adds on different levels of pain, with too much causing the individuals to pass out. Bushido Blade. In an era raised on Tekken, Virtua Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter, Bushido Blade's health system was a revolution of sorts. There's no health gauge, and almost every strike can be fatal. Damaging an opponent's legs also leads to effects like slower movement speed, or even your opponent crawling on the ground. With weapon weight realistically modeled, it's a methodical fight for an advantage, and getting the first significant strike can determine the match. Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl. Though it doesn't go all the way in simulating injuries and status effects, getting shot will result in continuous health loss from bleeding, which must be treated with bandages and first aid kits. It can also stop automatically, though it's advised not to wait. Hunger can adversely affect stamina and even result in death if not taken care of, and radiation will rapidly drain health, though it doesn't cause any long-term sickness, oddly enough. Deus Ex. Deus Ex was revolutionary in several ways, including how it handled health. Each body part for JC Denton had a health bar, with the head and torso taking double the amount of damage and resulting in death when reaching 0. Meanwhile, the arms could be damaged to reduce accuracy, while leg damage reduced speed, eventually causing the player to crouch if both legs hit 0. Treatment is easy with a medical robot, items, and medkits, but it forces players to think twice about their approaches. EA Sports UFC 5. EA Sports UFC 5 introduces the Real Damage Impact system, where cuts and bruises accumulate on a fighter's body. Not only does taking too much damage in places impact performance, but it can also result in the ringside doctor checking in and deciding whether to stop the match. Annoying and limiting the potential for comebacks in fights, sure, but it is realistic.
Confident about this particular his opponent in a lot of trouble now.
That was Cain Velasquez's punch of choice every time he landed.
Metal Gear Solid 3: Snake Eater. Surviving in the wild means treatment on the fly in Metal Gear Solid 3. Whether disinfecting and bandaging wounds, using splints to set fractures, suture kits to close wounds, and even forks to remove bullets. Even smoking is bad for your health, as using the cigar will result in slow health loss, though it can remove leeches.
Brett, it's a cigar.
Same thing?
It's not the same thing.
Doesn't matter to me. What I want to know is, why'd you take it with you?
Because I need it.
For what?
I can't smoke a cigar if I don't have one, can I?
So you just wanted to smoke it?
Yeah.
Man, you got problems. Do what you want. Just keep in mind that your life goes down when you're smoking it.
Escape from Tarkov. An extraction shooter means having limited space and thinking carefully about what to take into the battlefield. That applies to medical supplies and provisions because of the sheer range of injuries that affect different body parts. An injured stomach means additional damage taken all over and increased energy loss and dehydration, while fractured arms means searching containers, reloading and drawing weapons, and using items is slower. Then there are all the temporary statuses, from light bleeding causing small blood loss to tremors resulting in screen shake if any pain is left untreated for 45 seconds. It's a lot, but also adds to the realism. Kenshi. Such is the manner of threats in Kenshi that bandages and bed rests are only the beginning when it comes to treating injuries. If characters receive too much damage to their limbs, it's advised to amputate and replace them with robotic parts requiring separate means of maintenance. Interestingly, each race has different values for blood loss, which affect their resistance to certain weapons. Green Hell. Like Metal Gear Solid 3's Jungle Survival, but turned up to 11, Green Hell sees you treating infections with maggots and stitching lacerations with ants. Other statuses like food poisoning, parasites, fever, and more require different materials to treat. And you also have to manage your sanity, lest the voices and hallucinations manifest. Far Cry 2. So maybe treating malaria every hour or so is somewhat unrealistic, but the disorientation and lack of health regeneration put Far Cry 2 above the others in realistic injuries. If your health is fully depleted, the game will automatically shift to a cutscene where treatment is administered. You're also unable to do anything about going down and must rely on your buddy to carry you to safety. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. While Peter and Miles can't suffer injuries from too much damage, their suits do begin to deteriorate as their health drops, with cuts and torn clothes. On healing, these magically repair, so it's little more than a cosmetic touch, but it does add some extra detail to the more dangerous fights. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. Injuries in Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain are fairly significant, causing a temporary loss in maximum HP, and limbs can realistically break if you're not careful. On top of this, remaining in enemy territory too long will impact Fulton recovery success rate, damage resistance, and even reflex mode duration. But thankfully, a quick shower will fix all that, and clean any excess blood. Scum. On top of fulfilling different conditions like hunger and thirst to keep your character going, Scum also features several symptoms that can occur, like bleeding, dizziness, and blurred vision. There's also an immune system which determines how well your body can deal with infected wounds. Project Zomboid. With how in-depth Project Zomboid can be, staying healthy can be challenging with hordes of the undead out to get you, disinfecting wounds before applying bandages, suturing deep wounds, setting fractures with splints, and removing bullets or glass with tweezers. All of these are important to continue living. Of course, you also want to avoid scratches, lacerations, and bites from zombies, lest you quickly join the horde. It's somewhat ironic that avoiding infection from zombies is the easiest thing to do. Hey, did you know that we at GamingBolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.